You don't have to rush your artwork. There's nothing wrong with being slower in creating an illustration, or even just a sketch. Art isn't about being fast, and there's no shame in being slow. There's many great artists who are professionals, and they still take a long time making art. So if you're taking a long time drawing, that's fine. It's okay. You don't need to be faster. You don't have to be the Flash making, 1,000 drawings in like 2 hours or something like that. Of course, that's like hyperbole, but you get what I'm saying. Being faster at drawing isn't actually something you necessarily need to practice. The better you get at art, at just the technical part of it, the faster you'll be. I'm also not saying that being fast at making artwork is bad. There are exercises like gesture drawing, doing a pose in 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, even 30 seconds. This has its place in art. It's not a bad thing. It's just that you don't need to prioritize being fast. Just prioritize, if you want to prioritize something, prioritize being more efficient. Imagine for a moment, in a completely hypothetical and absurd scenario, that you're able to make a finished illustration in 100 line strokes. It takes you an hour to do that. Being more efficient is being able to do that same illustration in like 50 line strokes while keeping the same quality, or even greater quality. There are many good artists that are able to, with very few lines, make a really great drawing. And that is actually what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to learn how to make simple line art, but make it have quality. A lot of the times, when you're inexperienced at making art, you tend to make complex drawings, and not complex in the beautiful way. I mean the chicken scratch type of way, the making multiple strokes just to try and perfect one line type of way. I've seen many great artists make very complex line art, or just illustrations in general, but that's not to say that they can't make simple and efficient line art. They can, they're just choosing not to. It's like a lot of people say, you have to learn the fundamentals, or rather, you have to learn the rules in order to know when to break them. In this case, you have to learn how to bring out the beauty and simplicity before you start making really complex drawings quickly. Doing exercises like gesture drawing probably moves you towards the realm of being capable of making simple yet quality drawings. So, that's one way. You can also look at artists that do make simple yet nice drawings, and if they have like videos on it, or like not videos on it, but videos of them drawing, you can observe how they're able to do what they're doing. So essentially, by doing exercises and observing other artists who draw this way, you'll be able to illustrate forms in one line that you thought you needed two to create. And when you're able to do that, then the time it takes to create a full illustration is just going to drop. Even so, I've seen professional illustrators who take days to just make a full illustration. And when I just started and I was looking at these artists take this long to make a drawing, I used to not get it. I was like, that's crazy if you're taking that long. I kind of just want to finish illustration right now, like within the day at most, okay? Hopefully within a couple hours. And I still do feel that way, but I can completely understand why these artists are taking so long. First of all, these guys are doing full backgrounds, they're rendering really finely, they're doing really detailed rendering. So if you're trying to get into that type of illustrations, you kind of just have to accept that illustrations are going to take a pretty long time to finish if you want to get that detailed, if you want to make your environments look good, your characters look good, well proportioned, that type of thing. You're going to just take a long time. If you want to do simple sketches, if you've seen artists that just make simple sketches, no background, but their character and their poses are dynamic and it looks really good, I think it's very achievable to do that in 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. My finished illustrations are about that long, but I'm not at the level of detail yet that I would like. And I think that's the same for every artist. I think every artist aspires to be better than they are right now. So essentially, the goalpost is going to keep moving, and I think that's just how it is. I don't think there's really any changing that, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. But yeah, as far as speed goes, I think that's really all I have to say. So that's basically it. If you like the video so far, like it or subscribe or whatever people do. I don't know. Comment, I guess. Yeah. Other filler words. I still don't have a script, but who needs scripts when I'm just so good at rattling off stuff off the top of my head? Anyways, so I was drawing this pose right here, and you can see the reference on the right. This is by, wait, let me see if I can do this. Eric's Gassi, whatever. Okay, we have this pose sitting on the ground, kind of slouching, but not really, just leaning on the wall, I guess. Is that what's happening? Legs crossed in this weird way. And I just wanted to do it. I wanted to see if I can. I've been trying to get better at simplifying the body afterwards, right? So I do a drawing or a sketch like this one, and then afterwards I'm going to do another drawing where it's just the guidelines that I was imagining while drawing it. So Eric's has really nice rendering. It's simple but nice. I mean, look at this artwork right here. Look at the environment, all the objects and stuff. And this rendering on the skin is mainly what I'm paying attention to when I'm thinking about the simplicity. It's not complex. There's not very bright highlights or really dark shadows, but the knowledge on how to use hard edges versus like soft shading, that's what really makes it look good and pleasant. We also have this one where it's like, it's very simple, but to be able to even do this takes a lot of skill. And I'm trying to learn how to do a style kind of like this, at least just for my fun, goofy doodles, right? Something like this. I know how I can get to a point. I know that I can get to a point where I can do this very easily. And so that's what I'm trying to learn. And I'm also focusing on line art and line work in general. That's also what I'm doing. And then we have this one, which is just an object. I guess this just turned into like a small artist review, but this is also really nice artwork. There's no background, but I mean, look at the go-kart. The go-kart is really nice, but again, the lighting on it is very simple. There's not too much going on. Of course, there's a little bit more rendering to give it a slight metallic, sorry, I kind of stuttered, I guess, metallic rendering on the back by the wheel right there, but it's also not that complex. Yeah, I had a very fun time looking at Eric's art, and I just stumbled into Eric's, like just browsing on Twitter. I wasn't actually following Eric's at all. I'm pretty sure it was either it was just recommended to me or an artist that I follow reposted Eric's. Mainly this artwork, the reference I was using. So that's essentially what started me on looking into Eric's and stuff. Yeah, just really cool art. I mainly struggled on the legs. Funnily enough, yeah, it was mainly the legs. I think I could have done a little bit, or maybe it's the stomach, actually. I don't think I did that bad on the legs. I think the stomach I could have used a little bit more work, but it'd be like that sometimes. Sometimes I mess up, and I'm completely fine with that. I think it took a while. It took a very long time for me to just be able to accept that sometimes I just mess up. And it's not even that big of a mistake, right? Or a mess up in general. If I could verbalize what I find wrong, I think I could have done with a little bit more smoothing or better shading between, like, you see where the stomach is folding? I think I could have done a little bit better shading there, because it kind of looks abrupt. Or maybe that the shading with the rest of the stomach, like where the ribs are and all of that, I think that could have been done better. So instead of like kind of not picking between highlighting the abs or highlighting the fold, I needed to pick a one. In this case, I think the fold is more important because obviously this character is slouching. So that's what I should have done. Yeah, I think so. I think that's what's going on in my brain. But yeah, so essentially what's gonna happen now is I recorded a video after the fact that I finished, and then I just like explained what I was doing, so I'll let that happen. Alright, so I just simplified the body into basic shapes. We have the rib cage, which is a cube, hips, which is another cube, and the arms and legs are red. I've done like some contour lines and the center lines for the torso and stuff. So you can see like how what's it called? Right, the rib cage. How the rib cage is kind of curving, so like it'd be, it's doing like this type of curve where it's curving towards us, or I guess the circle would be like You understand what I'm saying, though, right? Because of how like she's slouching, you should be able to see the underside of these cubes. So I think, yeah, cubes are very useful for perspective in general. I think we all knew this. We all knew that cubes are like good for perspective. Now, I could have simplified this into like ovals and circles and stuff for the torso. Yeah, for the torso. But I don't think it would give the most clear understanding of the perspective. So that's why I think that cubes are useful. I think most people do agree. Yeah, the problem is, right, problem with spheres is that they don't have clear faces, and so it's very hard to gauge the perspective on them. So yeah, that's about it. Yeah, this is just a simplification, and this is the original one. Yeah, well, goodbye.